Hello and welcome to the MongoDB TV live stream. Today we've got a very special guest joining us, Mizanur Rahman, the Chief Technology Officer of BrainStation 23. I'm really delighted to be joined by Mizanur today. He's a thought leader in the tech world, he's an AWS ambassador, and he's a proud member of the MongoDB Community Advocacy Program as well too. He's an alumni of the Stanford Seed Transformation Program and the MIT Leadership Program as well too, where he clinched first place back in October 21. So with Mizanur, in this episode, we're going to explore the groundbreaking potential of generative AI in e-commerce. So from personalizing customer experiences to modernizing legacy systems, Mizanur is going to share his thoughts and insights of real-world applications that are revolutionizing the e-commerce industry. So do stay tuned while we delve into the future of e-commerce with one of the brightest folks in this space. Without any further ado, Mizanur, welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
Thanks a lot, Shen. Really appreciate. Yeah, thanks a lot.
No worries. Listen, it's great to have you on board. What I'd love to do with all of our guests, because I know we've got a wide and varied audience out there. We've got developers, we've got admins, we've got, kind of professionals and sales, etc. as well too, is I love to dive into the background of the guest before we get started into the topics fully. So tell us a little bit about, I mentioned a few well-known names on the way in there in your introduction. Tell us about your career to date and how you got to where you are today as CTO.
Thanks a lot, Shen, and really appreciate the MongoDB team for arranging this session, and especially I am a big fan of MongoDB Atlas. I mean that has been lifesaver so many times.
Good
So
lifesaver. I love to hear it.
yeah, so I'm a Bangladeshi. I born by born, and in computer, I started in computing back like in my 10th grade, and one of my very close friend Raisul, he has been like really inspiring me and supporting me at the very beginning. Then I started in computer science in North South University from Bangladesh, and
Mhm.
that time basically I started working in a Finland-based company named Sisutech. So at that time I used to work develop mobile game for Nokia, mostly for Symbian OS. That that has
Okay.
been like really exciting time.
Back in
And
the day, developing mobile games on what was very, very small screens at that time, right?
yeah, completely different kind of experience. Symbian was like that time quite new.
Mm.
And I can remember all I mean we have been developing solution all night, and next day there has been class at 8 a.m. and kind of sleeping at class. So I mean that was quite common, and I have been a entrepreneur from the very beginning. I
Okay.
mean there hasn't been much job doing job in big companies, so it has been always trial and error, always looking into things in more lean capacity. And I have seen company from like brain station from two people to now 750 plus people. So
Wow.
one room to now we have like eight floor total eight floor kind of office in three places. So yeah, it has been quite interesting journey. Yeah.
Yeah, that certainly is. And talk to me a little bit about, as I said in the introduction there, AWS ambassador. I'm part of the MongoDB community programs. So obviously you're a busy man, Mizanur. You're doing your own day job. What does these bring to kind of your experience as a developer and as somebody involved in technology at your level as a CTO?
Extremely important. I think the disruption happening in technology, I mean it is very important that you always take care of the community. You continuously you can learn, you need to also make sure you are sharing your learning to the community. Like if I look into the AWS ambassador, I am a co-founder of the biggest AWS user group in Bangladesh, like where more than 10,000 members are there.
Hmm.
Continuously, people are
Wow.
asking for different queries, different kind of challenges, and members are trying to help. So it is kind of a strong community. A few days back, we have done AWS Community Day, where more than
Mhm.
500 people joined. So we see that it is extremely important that we make ourselves stronger as a community. Same goes with MongoDB one. I mean, as I mentioned, I am a big fan of MongoDB, and it has been helping us in many solutions
Mhm.
all through. And as a part of advocacy community advocacy program, I always try to see like how I can contribute and continuously learning about it. I'm still learning. I feel like I'm a beginner. So and the way it has been changing the technology landscape, it feels you cannot kind of adopt. I know adopt it, or you can align it. It's so fast all around.
Well, I love that. I mean, I think one of the key things, and obviously I'm on the developer relations team here at MongoDB, and the pathway for a lot of my colleagues on the developer relations team is this collaboration with the community in whatever space they're in. If that's a language space, for example, they're a Python fan, they're collaborating in the Python community, etc. We see that as a huge pathway into developer relations. The fact that you've got to a point as you're in your technical developer career that you feel that you should share the knowledge that you've gained to date. And I really love to see that. And I know across all of our advocacy programs and indeed into our MongoDB Champions program that we run here, I'm utterly impressed by the people that I meet from those programs. And it's great that, as I said, you're a busy man, but you have time to do this as well and give back to the developer community.
Thank you. Yeah,
So,
great.
welcome everybody who's joining us. Thank you all for saying hello in the comments as well too. We're seeing some folks from Bangladesh joining in, but over to Edinburgh as well too, and Israel and Boston and Nigeria. So we really do love to see where our audience is coming from. We appreciate that this time slot doesn't necessarily suit everybody. We try to catch as much of the globe that we can, but as I said at the intro, it is being recorded, so no problems there. So, Mizanur, today, obviously, everything and most of the shows that I've done recently are all generative AI. We've understand a shockwave that in this space, certainly for the last 18 months, really, not necessarily for practitioners who might have been kind of seeing this coming down the tracks, but in the public mind, certainly generative AI was, November 22 with ChatGPT. Things can be done. I can do this. I can do that. I don't need to. English is the new developer language, etc. as well too. But I'm super interested to hear your views and take on how generative AI is changing, I suppose, the e-commerce space. We're all used to buying online. We've all been doing that before COVID, but especially because of COVID, most businesses did move online as well too. Now with the next wave of generative AI, I'm hoping that we can go through. I know you've got some slides and some demos, so I'm going to bring your slides up on the screen. Hopefully that we can go through some of these changes, some of the revolutions here, and also learn some lessons from the customers and clients that you've worked with.
Great, great. Yeah, I mean, it has been a journey, so I will try to share few
Mm.
thoughts. Definitely, there might have different aspect as well. So there is not what I say. There is nothing wrong or right. It is all about perspective. So I will be sharing my perspective, and yeah, and open for any different thought. So
Perfect. If you have questions as we go through, drop them in the chat on LinkedIn or YouTube. If it's suitable, we'll bring them on and interrupt Mizanur as he's making his way through his knowledge here. And if not, we'll hopefully get towards the end of the presentation. We get towards looking at them as well too.
awesome. Thank you. So, as Shane already mentioned, like today's topic is beyond Gen AI in e-commerce. A lot of Gen AI. I mean, I have been in a fair, multiple fair, and everywhere is like Gen AI. AI is everywhere. So so it's like beyond predictive algorithms to holistic decision making and application modernization. I try to share a few of my thoughts. And
Mhm.
since we have been doing in e-commerce for some time, more than 12 years, so some thoughts, some findings. So about me, as Shane mentioned, I'm working as CTO in BrainStation 23 PLC, and a proud member of MongoDB Community Advocacy Program, ambassador there, and I'm Stanford Seed Transportation Program graduate, and also MIT Innovation Leadership Program leadership program member. So if I go to the next, so I am, as I mentioned about Brainy Station. So we are proud member of more than 750 plus people, and nopStation is part of Brainy Station,
Mhm.
focused on e-commerce only. And most important part about nopStation is like we have clients over 120 plus countries we have been serving. So we have seen so many different diversified experience, the different expectation from different clients. And I'm from Bangladesh, as I already mentioned. A lot of people, a small country having 170 plus million
Mhm.
people. Whenever I visit Europe, like especially Nordic country, I mean, it feels so different, you know. Big countries having more than 120 people, you know. So that is a cultural shock, I would say. And we have been working with startup enterprise for different solution, which includes also Fortune 100 company and also
Okay.
startups like One Combinator.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, some great
So
names and logos there. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, since we have been working more than 18 years, since 2006, we do more than 120 plus projects at any moment. So that also helps us to really see
Mhm.
challenges, different expectation, different way of doing things of different project or clients. So I
Sure.
don't want to bore with this one. So very fast thing, like I would request all the audience, if possible, if you can just go to the QR code, and once you go to the link, you can just point your camera, mobile camera, to your feet, leg, and if you see any change.
And I tried this just before we came on air, and super simple and super effective. Yeah, do scan the QR, have a look at, and this leads into the conversation about e-commerce and where it's going.
Yeah. So I guess if yeah, a few of you already have experienced it. So yeah, I mean the overall journey of e-commerce is changing. People are not they don't want to have the same experience they used to have 5 or 10 years earlier. They would like to have more interactive, more personalized experience. So that is just a beginner. So regarding e-commerce market, I mean, market is growing, we all know. And all these years there has been a forecast, and it is growing. CAGR is like 9.94% there.
Mhm.
So I don't want to bore you with lot of numbers, because the more the people are using it, the more personalized experience would be there. The number would be even bigger down the line. And regarding generative AI, we all know about Gen AI. Just few might be like want to have like a small kind of description, like, okay, it is like type of artificial intelligence that can generate new content. AI models are trained on large data set, lot of data set of existing data, and that can potentially help in generating text, image, code, video kind of things. So it is kind of like new way of looking into the technology space. And this is Gen AI market size. It is growing bigger and bigger. And now way lot of capable people working in this direction in
Mhm.
generative AI, it can be like even unimaginable, that what I see. of course there is a lot of wrong way we are treating it, sometimes not the way it should be treated, but the hype is can be really really up down the line.
Mhm.
So a few cases, I would try to make it really short. Like chatbot, we know that we are using chatbot for different cases, like so that there can have personalized kind of information. For instance, in many cases, there might have regulated kind of content. There also you can use, for instance, GPT-3, where you can have your own content which are not exposed to public, and the even sometimes we see that the response we get from the different model, I mean, that is sometimes unimaginable. I mean,
Mm.
really really uh, not just logical kind of way it is treating, it is like really giving more accurately than and properly to the audience. And there is visual search there, of course,
Mhm.
anomaly
Mhm.
detection there, so that you can automatically you can it can help to for fraud detection. There is recommendation engine, that is extremely important. Like this segment has been like heavily I mean upgraded in many cases. For instance, if I am doing a shopping from Iceland, of course it would be showing like more like the for instance, I am searching for different clothes, so it should be showing more
Mhm.
relevant kind of clothes. If I am from Asia, for instance, it's quite hot over here, so it should be a little bit more aligned kind of cloth. So these kind of lot of data point are
That makes a
considered.
lot of sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
You don't need, and look, it still happens. I'm not naming any sites in particular, but you bought this. Why don't you buy one of these? You're going, I only bought one of these because I only need one of these, and I don't need to see all of the other ones of the same thing. Whereas, as you say, with clothes, etc., recommendations based on knowing exactly, as these sites do, where you're based, it makes perfect sense as well too.
right, right. I mean, this is just a simple experience, a simple example. Like, for instance, if you have the data about, like, you are working in a technology space and you are working in as a mobile developer and something, so it is like, maybe you are buying shirt, but it is recommending, hey, there is a new phone, Android phone or iOS phone there. Are you interested? I mean, Apple phone there. So I mean, lot of different contexts are coming up, like not the way it was earlier, like not the localized information. It is yeah, there is possibility to have different data point to be incorporated in this decision making. Same way,
Mhm.
dynamic pricing is there, like according to different situation, different condition, user behavior, this different dynamic pricing is coming up, so that it can really provide the relevant kind of experience to the users. And the customer relationship management, I think there has been a lot of disruption. I mean, now you can really provide custom kind of communication. You can get details from, for instance, LinkedIn, and you can know what he is
Mhm.
interested about, what he is working now, so that you can provide most relevant a kind of communication to the person, so that he feels like, wow, it feels like
Sure.
it is sent by someone, some human, but maybe that is not the case. So a lot of possibilities are there. The more data point, the more information we have down the line in future, that would be really really critical. And of course, how there will have different aspect, like using it ethically, or different or privacy part, that is definitely part of this whole journey. But I think data would be more important in future. Yeah,
So
like
this is a few examples, obviously, of where Gen AI and e-commerce exist. What does the future look like to you then, so Mizanur? How would this look?
Okay, so thanks a lot. I think, in short, future is personalized experience.
Hmm.
It's not like you will have so many things in front of you and you are going one by one, searching for it. A lot of options are there. Rather, it would be more personalized. It would be showing most relevant kind of things
Hmm.
to you. So if I go one by one, it would be a virtual personal assistance. So in many cases it would be able to understand your need from different data point, and also there will have different context there, like environmental, telematic, there will have different access of
Hmm.
IoT
Hmm.
sensors there, and most importantly personal information, behavior, like preference, psychology, demography, health. I mean, all these data point, if you look into it, we are already kind of sharing with many parties, even if we don't know. The more it will go, it will be more structured, and there will have more predictable way to collect those data, which can
Hmm.
potentially help in this artificial general intelligence part. And there will have response mapping there. Very important part about this one is, we see a lot of not only in web or mobile, there is AR, VR, or mixed reality kind of outcome also there, so that you can really have your own way of experiencing this e-commerce
Hmm.
kind of
Hmm.
journey.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think, like in short, it won't be like just the way we are doing. Rather, it would be like more personalized context there. It is not like there would be a predefined AI model. Rather, it would be model of focused on you, and there might not have any kind of the way we see user interface, UX. It would be like more one stop kind of thing. That what I
Okay.
see. Like,
Yeah, and I for one very much welcome that future because I mean today the e-commerce experience seems very I suppose more in favor of the site. You know, I list everything, I have to do all the work, I have to do all the searching, I have to do the comparisons, etc. as well too. And you know, it's kind of if we take the real world example where you go into a clothes store, clothing store as it were, and you tell the assistant, the human in this instance, what you're looking for. I need a new pair of jeans. I'm size 36. I have a 34 leg. They say these are the new ones. These are the ones that you like. They're the same as the ones you've bought before. Are we heading in that direction?
yeah. I mean, in that direction, with more scalable, of course,
Okay.
more scalable, not like just if you see in a store, there might have few salesperson, right? I mean,
Mm.
but that would be more scalable, and that salesperson might have a lot of existing data about you, not like he or she would be asking, how can I help you? Rather, he or she already knows that you like black color, you are your size is maybe XL, something like that. So a lot of data would be
And
already
that's what
there.
I was getting to. You know, the real world shopping experience. If you go to the regular shop, that they might know you. How do we take that into an online scenario whereby you're not presented just with the homepage? You've logged in already, so they know you, but you're still generally presented with the entire catalog of everything they sell most of the time.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I think there has been lot of disruption. So now, for instance, if I look into different service provider, now you get lot of data about a person. If you give the name and, for instance, email address, you which the I was looking into different solution, and the data they are providing, I mean, it looks quite scary to some extent. I mean,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
they are collecting data from different source, like social media, then
Sure.
professional kind of networking. So a lot of data point they are collecting those data, and that data would be matured day by day. And then basically this kind of cataloging, I think there might have end of this cataloging stuff. Rather it would be more into person specific, like the assistant would be saying, you need this, I know it better than you, something like that. Anyway, yeah. So
Good.
yeah, so a lot of disruption, and that disruption might be happening in very short time, the
Hmm.
way it's progressing. So so if I go into I would like to share a few of the experience we are seeing. But before
Hmm.
going that, I'm just sharing few points about personal experience,
Sure.
personalized, like what kind of can happen. Like they would know about you, understand your context. They would have response according to the context they already have, generate result. Then we'll have one stop interaction, not like lot of clicking
Hmm.
and going there. There will have suggestion and expert suggestion, something like that. There will have behavioral response, and it will be part of your journey, not like so that is how I see the future of e-commerce.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I would like to share few challenges. I think that is extremely important. We need to know. So the data quality and quantity. I mean, there has been a lot of data all around, but it is very important that
Hmm.
we make sure that data quality or quantity is there. The privacy and security is there, because that is if that is not there, eventually as a human race, it can be a risk, a great risk.
Hmm. Hmm.
Integrating with existing system, but because in day one it won't happen, it will need incremental kind of progression.
Of course.
So we need to have the integration capacity with the existing system. And high initial cost, of course. I mean, because to get that ecosystem, we need to have a lot of initial some investment there. Algorithm bias can happen in
Mm-hmm.
many cases if the data is not consistent. It is not like if we don't get the data from diversified data point, then there might have a lot of bias into that data. So that is also a challenge. The trust, customer trust, is would be a big challenge. And ethical and regulatory compliance, that is a big thing, because if we are not concerned about this ethical part, there might have the whole idea can be in risk. And ROI uncertainty. I mean, we know that there are lots of Gen AI solutions are happening, but the ROI is still not good. I mean, it is quite expensive. It is not yet a profitable model. So
Okay. Yes,
yeah,
yes. And
so
I suppose these are a lot of challenges. What of these, I think, in the Gen AI space, Mizanur, which would be the most challenging at the moment for people using this in e-commerce, do you think, in your
so
experience?
regarding challenges part, I think the alignment of the new technology with the people who are working on it, that would be a core thing, because they need to upgrade their capacity to make sure they are aligned with the like necessary job. There is
Okay.
another another thing is like most important part, I would say, the change management, because the way we think right now as a business, the way we see the flow, there will have lot of major disruption.
Hmm. Hmm.
As a leadership team, are we able to accept that change? If we cannot, then there might not have a proper change, and there will have continuous, back and forth. So there will have a lot of unlearning, I would say.
Okay.
And yeah,
Understood.
I think
Yeah.
that is a most important part.
And I suppose, look, obviously with my MongoDB hat clearly on, data quality and quantity. Could you talk to me a little bit about that as to the importance of that for successful implementation?
So, if the data quality and quantity is not good, potentially there can have a few major challenges,
Hmm.
because the performance of the model heavily dependent on that. So, if
Mm,
the I mean backed data is not proper, the quality is not proper, the amount of the quantity of data set is not proper, then the performance of the model won't be as expected. So there might have a
yes,
lot of
yes.
a wrong outcome. That is one thing. Another is the bias part. Like as I mentioned, there
Hmm,
might have
hmm.
biased data, which can potentially can be unexpected. Maybe a group of people might not accept that data because that is a kind of biased data. So that if that
Yeah,
happens, that can be really a challenge. Last thing is like the complexity. I mean, if the data quality and quantity is not right, a lot of complexity would be coming up, which we won't be able to solve. There will
sure.
have, yeah. So yeah, as I see like that. Yeah.
Okay, okay. That's, yeah, understandable. I think the old saying, garbage in, garbage out, I think when it comes to anything, but most particularly data, the quality is important, and obviously the quantity. If the quality is good, then the quantity also becomes important then too.
Right, right. If the foundation is not solid enough, then potentially
Mm,
whatever we build on that, that can be that won't be as good as we can expect. So the
sure,
foundation needs to
that's
be,
understandable.
yeah, and we really need to plan that we are doing it proactively from day one, and it is aligned with the goal, like what we want
Hmm,
to achieve.
hmm,
Otherwise,
hmm.
just collecting the data in course of time, and down the line we see that it is not giving enough value, having lot of data but it is not giving enough value.
Yeah. And just to the last point on this, the ROI uncertainty, I think a lot of things in the Gen AI space are very much, could be tagged with ROI uncertainty at the moment. I think a lot of companies are trying to see what they can get involved in their product and in whatever they're building in the Gen AI space, but not a lot of them understand the ROI potentially of that. So, is that more to do with getting started in the project in the first place as to whether you can get the backing for building this as a development, or is it something else, Mizanur?
So I think this is very important that we need to first plan what we want to achieve. That is
Hmm.
extremely important, and also we need to find out like what are the leading indicator there and lagging indicator there.
Okay.
Leading indicator, for instance, of what are the value we uh, it is very difficult to find out like, okay, these three things needs to be done, which can potentially bring that two things. So it is a continuous process, but
Hmm.
most of the time that lagging indicator not in control. For instance, if we'd like to have customer as engagement or sales conversion or this kind of thing, maybe for instance, maybe you are doing outbound to 600 or 1000 people, and you are feeling you have done enough, but maybe the market standard is like maybe 10,000. I'm just
Hmm.
saying. So, we really need to make sure that regarding the startups, we really need to know what we are doing, what is the market expectation, what is the market right number, and also need to make sure that you really know your what we say beachhead market, like who are
Hmm.
your
Hmm.
customer. Because in many cases we feel that, yeah, this solution is amazing, we are so impressed about our thought, but maybe even few people, they are also quite impressed, but are they ready to spend money for that? That is also
Sure.
something we forget to forget to consider. Okay, I mean, so this is very important that even there is a saying that fake it till you make it kind of thing. So uh, I mean, you provide all the feature about your preferred solution, and you see like if anyone is subscribing with a even prepayment, something like that. If you get enough, that means there is a
Yes, yeah,
market.
perfect, perfect. No, that makes ton of sense. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, so there are some guidance. You we So it needs to be have a clear goal. Start small, not to try too many things because it is expensive. Uh, Choosing
Hmm.
the right Gen AI solution is extremely important because there are different for different Gen AI. There are different use case, pros and cons. So we really need to make sure we are choosing the right Gen AI solution. Invest in data collection and preparation because if the data is not proper, the whole solution won't be usable.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
quality, of course. Be patient because it takes time to see the outcome. Sometimes we expect result overnight. That might be difficult for sure. And
Sure.
existing team needs to augment to use Gen AI and transfer. We need to transparent with our customers because this is very important that the trust is not in risk. If trust is risk, then potentially if the customer cannot trust you for any of the activity, that can be a single reason your business can fail.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
yeah, so this is very important. And monitor or continuously monitor and evaluate because there will have a lot of trial and error. This is very important that we are incrementally making it better. Nothing will come just in one shot, so we need to
Hmm.
continuously update it. And very important and last thing, we need to use it ethically according to our knowledge and because if we are not ethical about it, then whole purpose of the whole thing, whole initiative can be in risk. So
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
extremely
No, that makes
important.
sense. There's some great guidelines there, and they're all ring true with me. I suppose the one that I know that we hear from our community, our audience, would be, how do I know if I'm picking the right Gen AI solution? Things are moving so fast. How do I make sure, I use the right solution in my stack? Have you any thoughts on that, Mizanur?
Yeah, of course, the different use case can have different preference. And what I see that when I talk with different people, they say, okay, I like, for instance, I like Anthropic or someone,
Hmm.
Gemini or ChatGPT, and they have. When I talk with them, I see that they have different use case. So it is not like that. Okay, should I which one I should use? Rather which one would be right fit for me. That would be most important. And we can of course we can check with expert person, and also we can try ourselves also that, yeah, how there are a lot of different way to check how different provider are their response, so that you can check how
Hmm.
which one
Hmm.
is most relevant to you. So I don't have just direct answer. Rather, I would say doing some trial and error, consulting with different people. I think that's what I see.
Yeah, there's some good evaluation tools out there that are
Yeah,
emerging to evaluate across the different LLMs and Gen AI tools that are available for you. So it is becoming kind of easier to compare one against the other and see, for your particular use case, is it more suitable or not, and to compare with that. I suppose architecturally, the other piece about that potentially is that, you can swap out, the LLMs that you might use, but I'm not saying that's super easy, but it's something to consider because we see new models all the time. They're better. Sometimes they're more performant. Sometimes they're even cheaper as well too, which is always the case, particularly in the e-commerce arena, to make sure that the tools that you're using are not becoming too expensive given the scale that to which you might be using them.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And I think in future there will have more a similar kind of solution. So then things would be even more complicated, I think. But eventually, I feel there is no right or wrong. You know your case best, so you see
Yeah.
like which one is best fit for you. And a continuously different provider, they are making it better and better. So
Hmm.
not necessarily once you are stuck with something, you need to stuck with it for lifelong. You can there is always a scope to reevaluate, if whenever there is a new version in the market, so that's what I say here.
Excellent. And I know our audience always are keen to see some demos. You've a couple of demos for to
Yeah.
show or examples to show for us?
Right. Yeah. So I'd like to share a few case studies, like how e-commerce is
Hmm.
changing and how Gen AI is supporting. I mean, I try to keep it. Maybe I can go the browser. So
Sure.
I would like to start with a single thing, as I mentioned, like nopStation. This is our Brain Station's e-commerce part. So we
Hmm.
are serving more than 120 plus countries customer. So one of the use case was like customer wanted to have a proper SEO optimized kind of e-commerce. So they had like 200, 300,000 SKUs, and they writing those meta tag or different keyword for Google. That was quite difficult. They had to have like a lot of people to write that to write proper keyword. There basically, for instance, a simple plugin, a very small plugin that basically was used. For instance, if I look into a product, for instance, this is a product where this is a for not commerce. There are different products there. So there are multiple way of doing things. There is like generate all SEO content, generate selected content for from the details of the product. It provides the appropriate one. So for instance, if I search this one, if I go this one, and you see that there is no SEO content there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Whoever has like lot of product, they know how painful it is to provide different details. But here, basically, if I click here, you see that it is for just a moment. So um, it is sharing like, okay, from the
See. Okay.
details of the product, it
Hmm.
is coming up with the keyword. And more smartly, what we had to do, we had to come up with a proper prompting. Just prompting, as you rightly mentioned, development, it would be like how good you know about good you know English, something like that. So the prompting is there. That
Hmm.
prompting basically considered the content of the product, and they automatically came up with the meta tag. So just you can generate and you can just apply. So
Okay. Which
it's
is
just,
which obviously you say for a catalog with hundreds, if not thousands of items
yeah,
there,
yeah.
that's
You see,
huge
yeah,
time
yeah.
saver.
Yeah. It might sound like this is a very simple thing, but we have seen how different e-commerce provider who has lot of product, they are suffering. Like same
Hmm.
way, if you go into like, even you can create generate for all, like if you have
Oh.
200,000, so you can click done. So you don't need any people. To do that.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and here one interesting thing is, when some human is doing, one person
Hmm.
might be doing right, another person might not be doing it properly. But here you are continuously, after doing some iteration, you come up with a proper prompting which can ensure the right kind of meta, so that
Hmm.
is,
Hmm.
and which can scale like right away. And another thing, I would like to share that we have seen in the next example I would share in car industry. We have been working with, for instance, Nissan and Toyota, and if you
Hmm.
can recall, there is a big manual book with every new car, and you never read it. I mean, no
No,
one
it
reads.
sits in the car. It's never used, right?
Yeah. So we initially we worked on digitalize that
Okay.
ebook to paper book to digital one for Nissan, for instance, so that people can have mobile app to see different parts, content parts, details. Then there has been another part. Now recently we have worked with Toyota. There you can really have the content of the manual, and you can ask anything about any parts or any challenge. It can give you the answer right away. So if I give you an example, for instance, Hilux one, for instance, if you look into it,
Hmm.
uh, I'm just removing the key. So for instance, it is uh, like a manual, like where it can show. Just a moment. Okay.
See,
So
proper live demo. It's waiting to load.
yeah, yeah. So this is Nissan one, and there is another one is Toyota. In
Okay.
Toyota, like what happens that previously you had to see like, oh, what this button called, what this window called, because
Hmm.
in many
Hmm.
cases we don't know what it does. It can, for instance, there is lot of different indicator, you see. But what it happens that, just a moment. Oh, okay. So now what is happening for different, you can just share your camera there,
Okay. Very good.
and it
Yes.
can show any kind of parts, like inside, outside. It can detect like, okay, this is my this is the part. So there
Okay.
can have videos, images, content, whatever you'd like to have, so that like this is how you get a personalized experience and really usable one, because previously having a paper-based manual, it doesn't help, so yeah, so let me refresh it. So okay, so for instance, if you here,
Hmm.
um, okay, if I go into the chat part, yeah. So if you see there is chatbot there, so you can
Hmm.
ask like in the chatbot, like um, mm, uh, I can ask anything. For instance, I can say, tell me about. Yeah. It was pre-recorded, so that we can do it really fast. Tell me about. And most important part here, that we have used, we wanted to make sure that the data is not exposed externally,
Hmm.
so that the privacy is there. So tell me about tire replacement time, because in many cases we don't know how long it should be replaced. So it is automatically getting, and lot of PDF, I can tell you. I mean, if you look into the manual, lot of data there, but it
Hmm.
can really get the appropriate kind of data from there.
So
So
Reference.
was that a
When to
RAG
replace it.
approach then in terms of augmenting the LLM with the RAG?
yeah, right.
Okay.
So another thing is like, I would make it simple. Like there is, we have done like a barger one, where you can really have experience. I mean, you can personalize the experience. You can have color from the
Hmm.
environment, and you can choose the color, and you can order the color. You can
Okay,
get the color, and you see it might look like, you can see how it might look like in real,
sure.
so you can choose. So yeah, in many way, like we see a lot of disruption. Same way there is like virtual kind of e-commerce. You can
Hmm.
really
Hmm.
see the e-commerce. You can roam around, like for instance, you can really you can really roam around with the headset, and you can see the promotional video in real time with the hand. So yeah, so I don't want to bore everyone. So the aspect, I mean, the way we have been seeing the e-commerce, it is not like not the way a future would be. There will have different dynamics, different personalized experience to make it, like, more convenient to the people. So yeah, I think this is for the like e-commerce part. Yeah, over to you, Shen. Yeah.
Okay, so they were examples, obviously, how the users interact with content and experiences generated with Gen AI. But you also have a view on how Gen AI helps developers in their day-to-day jobs.
Right.
We're talking about application modernization there.
Right, right. Yeah, I am just sharing in short. So,
Hmm.
I mean, for instance, we were talking with one of the customer clients in, I have recently visited Paris, and they mentioned that they have a challenge of lot of Foxpro application, more than 100 Foxpro application there, and they are
Okay.
not being able to rather update it because they don't have documentation, they don't know who can do it, but they are losing the competition. So we saw, okay, how can we help there? We also don't have Foxpro developer,
Okay.
but
So you needed an alternative approach then. So.
yeah. So how yeah, Gen AI can help? Like what we feel, Gen AI is like your friend who, if you can treat or provide proper guidance, it can learn really fast. It can learn more predictable manner. It can
Mhm.
really deliver fast. That how we see Gen AI. So these are the few challenges: poor documentation, understanding technical
Mhm.
obsolescence,
Mhm.
then high maintenance cost, scalability and performance issue, security vulnerabilities, tight coupling there, inflexible architecture, limited test coverage, of course, dependency on specific skill sets, and resistance to change, because
Mhm.
you cannot change, because whenever you change, you think if it is not properly done, then your business can be in risk. So it is
Sure.
always difficult
Understood.
decision. So there are three cases we have considered. One is
Mhm.
like maybe same technology. One of the project we have done 12 years earlier and now we got different email from GitHub that there is a lot of vulnerabilities there because it is quite old technology, and we have done the mod. We have updated that 12-year-old solution within 3 days, because
Mm.
since it
Wow.
works more logically,
Yes.
we see that Gen AI can really support big scale, because it is not human, rather it's a code. So there they can really support if you
Mhm.
can really
Mhm.
train them. Another one is modernization in different technology, like Foxpro to .NET, Foxpro from Foxpro to latest .NET. So we did a small POC, and which I would be sharing in the journey we have followed. Another challenge we see from different customer, that they have both iOS application, core iOS application, and Android application, but maintaining those different application by different developers, this is quite difficult. Sometimes iOS development is quite fast. Sometimes
Mhm.
Android development is slow, so you cannot release the application properly. So that is a challenge, and also the maintenance cost quite high. So there potentially can help to have a and the application to single React Native or Flutter or Kotlin application that can be highly manageable. And this migration can potentially be done even 60 to 90% faster with
Mm,
the help
mm.
of Gen AI. I mean, that is a like it can really help to a lot of enterprise, especially who has a lot of old solution, and they are scared to do it modernize it due to different challenges, so
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I know that we've
yeah.
seen some projects. We have some projects internally with regard to modernization. We have tools such as the relational migrator tool that we're trying to apply Gen AI techniques to. We've already applied some kind of Gen AI to our MongoDB docs. There's a chatbot there. You can just ask questions of the docs now, and we're getting a huge amount of traffic there. And then we brought it into our charts recently. For anyone who's familiar with MongoDB charts, they used to be, really easy to use drag and drop interface, but now you can just ask charts to build what you needed to build. And we brought that across through to our aggregation pipeline builder in Compass as well too. So from that perspective, we're trying to leverage it ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there has been I mean, scope of Gen AI in this space like quite significant. I mean, significant, and it would be better and better as I see. So, regarding the journey, like we all know about Foxpro, like it was
Mhm.
discontinued in back in 2007. So there has been, and we are not expecting that someone from the team would be learning it, because we don't want to make a person's
No, no,
a
no point.
future uh, so so we thought like how we can really transform it. So so we thought about like very first thing what we tried to do. We
Mhm.
tried to get all the file name of the project. We try to have we choose a project, and we got all the file name, and we simply ask the chat gpt, can you explain what these files are used for,
Okay.
for instance. So so it is sharing like, okay, yeah, this purpose is this, and so we looked into only the code base, only the code which are responsible for a different activity, and there are different, for instance, header file and everything that is very specific to Foxpro only, so we skip
Mm.
that. And then basically we went to we just explored the project more in more discovery capacity, since we don't have any knowledge about how Foxpro really run, so we
Mhm.
had to
Mhm.
install the Foxpro IDE, so that we can run and we can see like how it looks like, how it's supposed to work,
So you could still get the IDE to install it. I'm surprised there as well too.
Yeah,
That's great.
we got that. Yeah, we got that. Yeah, we got that. That's
Fair
great.
enough.
Yeah. So yeah, we see that we try to just run it with the Foxpro ID, and then we try, then right after that we have customized the ChatGPT one, so that
Mhm.
we can provide the code, existing code, and we provided the instruction like as a AI assistant in converting legacy Foxpro code to modern C sharp using .NET Core. You are assigned to handle database operation with entity framework and transform UI code into a form. You see, I mean, you are just
Mm.
explaining it,
Mm.
like
Yeah, no, you're setting the scene, you're setting the prompts, you're
yeah,
giving the ChatGPT the persona that you which wish for it to approach the task with.
right, right. And also you can mention how you'd like to ChatGPT to respond. So that is also mentioned there. And then you see that this is a like a solution, desktop solution there, and it became like a web solution with like it's working with
Okay.
the .NET Web application. I mean, the core part about this example is, in many cases, we have a glass ceiling that it needs to be done
Mhm.
from scratch. So it becomes very difficult decision to take. But now this is if we can look into the legacy solution in this perspective, there might have lot of interesting scope or interesting initiatives can be done, which can potentially modernize the existing legacy code. So that is, and the
Very
last
neat.
thing, yeah, last thing here, that for doing the whole thing, even learning, knowing about Foxborough and everything, it took 8.5 hours. So,
Yeah.
so
See, this is where I'll get the question that AI is doing developers out of their jobs. But in this instance, as you said earlier, a developer was never going to learn Fox Pro because it's so old at this point in time. But that's incredible time in terms of 8.5 hours. Wow.
yeah, and I was seeing thinking like how it can be better. So we had some thought like if you have if you have someone like, for instance, who did work in Fox Pro maybe a long time back, so he
Mm,
taking some consultation, at the very beginning, that can reduce the cost, because we don't even know like how Foxpro runs, for instance. So
sure.
then basically it is taking some additional time. So some that can be one thing. And another thing you rightly mentioned about, like, if everything is done with ChatGPT, it's not like that. I feel that many people, they do say that like we have seen, there was horses there, and when motor I mean, so there was like there will have transformation, there will
Mhm.
have new way of doing things, where a lot of people would be needed. And so that is how we feel. I mean, so doing something which doesn't have significance, enough value as a human, I don't think it is a matter of pride, rather doing more impactful thing. Maybe it would take time, maybe it will the total dynamics would be different, but
Mm, mm.
I mean, but things would be it is not like from 1 to 2 or 1 to 4, rather it is completely different. It's like 1 4, for instance. So
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. And look, I mean, even if you put a developer on this task, for example, it's not the most exciting of tasks, converting a Fox Pro application to a .NET application and everything involved. And I think that's the sort of task that we need to configure that AI is better at doing that because, we developers are human. We don't want to bore them with mundane tasks and tedious projects. Use AI for things like this. So it's a really, really good example. I'm still blown away by how quickly it managed to do it and get it working from scratch. That's an incredible metric there.
Yeah, yeah, and you rightly mentioned. I mean, of course, I mean, for us, even in our company, we have seen that since we hired that most talented people, we want to make sure, if we ask like, what do you want? They say like, we want to have more challenging works. Don't
Exactly.
No one don't want to repeat ourselves for longer time. So yeah, I think that is quite important. I mean, if Gen AI or different AI solution can potentially help us to do more impactful work, why not? Yeah.
Mm, mm. And that's it. It's about freeing you up to be more effective, moving developers up the value chain, as it were,
Yeah.
to be able to, get rid of the boilerplate, the mundane, tedious tasks, and actually leverage their skills and expertise at a different level, that allows them to be more progressive, I suppose, right?
Right, 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 right. Yeah, you are. I'm fully aligned. Yeah, yeah.
Excellent.
So basically, that is the last slide. This is the LinkedIn QR code. So feel free to connect, and I'm open for any thought or anything. Yeah, please.
Perfect, perfect. Well, Mizanur, this has been great. It's a great example of earlier on, obviously the layer of sophistication that Gen AI is now bringing to e-commerce and online shopping platforms and the things. And I hope those early on scanned the QR code and found a nice set of sneakers that they like from that demo there, through to, as you rightly say, the car manuals that people leave in the glove box of a car and never look at, and only until something goes wrong, the way applications can take care of that, and everything else that you've been showing. Super insightful. For me, the most insightful piece was this last piece, this application modernization or refactoring. I think that is a very untapped space for AI, most definitely in as a developer experience point of view. Um, one of the things I always try to ask our guests, and particularly at your level as a CTO, is how do you keep ahead of the changes that are coming all the time, with particularly in the generative AI space, but more particularly in tech overall? Where do you learn? Do you go to blogs, podcasts? Do you have any go-to places where you kind of keep up to date?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, from organization perspective, like if I say in practicing part, we have different initiatives, like innovation initiatives, so that we
Hmm.
continuously do different POCs, different, so that we see like how it is progressing. Whenever there is any mm, uh, any disruption we see, then there are different units there in
Hmm.
companies, like what they try. And personally myself, I try to read different books, and mostly nowadays is more audible. I mean,
Mm.
not being able to read much during driving, I see that that is more convenient than
It's easier to
different.
consume, most definitely. Yeah, you can get, and you can play it at 1.5 times speed or faster too, right?
Yeah. My favorite is 1.5. Yeah. So yeah, and so that is one thing. Another thing is like different podcasts there. For instance, a few professional podcast, and also one podcast like I get from Stanford. I mean, since I have been with their ecosystem, there are some podcasts I really like about. So I try to follow their take runs there,
Hmm.
LinkedIn also. I try to follow a few of the people I really admire. So whenever there is something there, I get the notification to some extent, so that I can really make sure. But one thing for sure, I mean, the disruption in technology is I mean, unmanageable to some extent. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
feels like you are always I mean, way behind. But yeah, I mean, as long you can do it, I mean, yeah, things are quite challenging, but exciting. Yeah, for sure.
And on that note, I suppose you've seen, obviously, we saw you've worked with a lot of companies, a lot of startups on the way, et cetera, as well, too. What advice would you give to startups who are looking to leverage generative AI, maybe in an e-commerce type retail application? Any particular advice there, Mizanur?
Uh, I would say that I want to give you an example. Like for instance, a few days back, I got an email, a beautiful email, three para email.
Hmm.
But all I was expecting, yes or no, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
So people, I mean, don't want to leverage the technology which is not aligned with your need. I mean,
Hmm. Hmm.
beautiful email, and right after reading the email, I'm confused if it is yes or no. Then then it would be total wrong use of Gen AI or technology. So what I would suggest for the startups, that really try to understand, define the goal, and see whatever technology we are doing or whatever strategy we are taking, if it is aligning that. I mean, don't want to say that. In many cases we see that, oh yeah, we are doing AI, we are doing maybe blockchain,
Hmm.
we are
Hmm.
doing, but eventually if it is a right case for you,
Hmm.
that is most important part, because that I mean, announcing or tagging ourselves into different jargon might give a lot of buzz initially, but eventually that cannot ensure the success, sustainability. So I would say that really focus on your core and strengthen your core capacity,
Hmm. Hmm.
enabled by powered by like Gen AI or other technology. It is like a I would say Iron Man suit kind of thing, you know. I mean, it can if you are two, it can make it four, you know, you can
Hmm.
potentially, but you need to make sure you are doing that two properly. Otherwise it can be, if it is zero, then potentially it can bring zero only. So I mean, choosing the I mean, the core needs to be solid,
Sure,
and
sure.
making, yeah. So for a startup, it is, you know, the best about your business. No,
Hmm.
if someone is coming here and say you do it this way, then really need to revisit, you know, if it is right way to do of doing things. Yeah.
True,
I
true.
mean, I mean, there can have different aspect. As I mentioned, I'm sharing my thought.
I love that advice. I love that advice. And finally, I suppose looking, obviously you had a lot of really good generative AI examples for now and what's happening. Looking to the future a bit, what excites you about generative AI coming down the tracks that you kind of say, well, look, I hope we get here. What do you see in the e-commerce space or any space in particular?
Uh, I personally always want to see that uh, it won't be a risk for human kind. You know, I mean,
Hmm.
want to make sure that we really handling it in a proper manner, so
Hmm.
that we are not scared of it, and we are not paranoid about it. You know, I mean, this is very important that all the, like, all the different parties, different institutes, we are we do all necessary to make sure that it is not becoming something which can potentially harm the humankind as a whole. I mean, I think that is extremely important. So we personally, I want to have see more proactive initiative in that direction. You know, now it feels like more open, and sometimes I feel. You know, if there is like more way of doing things was defined, and all are working together in a single direction, that would be really great. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I certainly now it seems to still be the move fast and break things. I know there's been governments and the European Union, for example, trying to get in with regulation on AI. I'm not saying I don't think regulation is the way to go either, but I do think we need to tread cautiously, perhaps, as you say, from an ethical consideration, from those sort of concerns, most definitely. Um, but is it ultimate to say that the future looks positive to you for the
Yeah,
use
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
AI?
Of course, of course, of course. I mean, amazing. I mean, the most important part I see that as human, we need to do more impactful things.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
so that's most important, I think. So, yeah, future looks exciting, amazing. Yeah.
Hmm. And a very impactful thing, as your example, would not have been to learn Fox Pro. 15 years later, it's just to use AI to help you not have to do that tedious project. So I love to see that example, that app modernization, most definitely. Mizanur, this has been superb. I really enjoyed seeing the e-commerce examples that you shared, the points about using generative AI in that space, the potential pitfalls, but also the potential benefits, and that ability to, as you showed in your demo, to tag all the products and get the descriptions for the SEO, etc. That's ideal because that is mundane work, right, for somebody, and if you can leverage the tools at our disposal to do that, and then, as I just said, that example in app modernization, that the 8.5 hours to do that's that's something stunning. So I hope that resonates with our audience. I think the if I could get a little plug in for what we do here at MongoDB, everything our DevRel team is involved ends up on our developer website, our dev center. So developer.mongodb.com. You can see most of the work that we do there. And as Mizanur said at the way in, our advocacy ambassadors, etc., spend a lot of time helping out on our community, answering questions, helping people out, helping developers. So if you've been intrigued by anything and you start to build something and you have any issues or just looking for like-minded people, head across to community.mongodb.com to our forums there. You'll meet most of the engineers on our platform team there. You'll meet obviously the DevRel team, our ambassadors, our MongoDB champions as well too. So definitely do try and head there. Any last words for our audience then, Mizanur, on our session today, or anything else that you didn't get to cover?
I would like to thank again, you and MongoDB team, for arranging this session. I am really excited and I'm really honored to be part of it. That is one thing. Another thing is, I see that a few Bangladeshi also joined here. It's kind of holidays for Eid festival, but still they joined at this hour. I think that is amazing. And from all the people from different, like I see Indonesia, then Paris, then Mexico, Kenya. This is amazing. I am really happy to see this. Enthusiasm and courage, and most important part, I last thing I would like to add that uh, embrace the disruption. If we are not embracing this disruption positively, then eventually we would be lagging behind. So I think we need to embrace, we need to be optimistic about these different changes, and potentially that can bring a lot of positive things, different dynamics, way of doing things. I think we need to be more positive, want to be positive in different changes all around happening. Yeah.
Excellent. I love that notion to embrace the disruption. So thank you, Mizanur. It's been great to have you on, and thank you very much for your time and joining us. And I know obviously the day that's in it as well too. We had pre-scheduled this, and sorry we didn't get to move it at the end of the day, but I do appreciate your time, and I know it's late for you. So without further ado, thank you so much for joining us, and to all our viewers who've joined on LinkedIn and YouTube. Very good to have you. We stream every Tuesdays and every Thursday here. So on YouTube, on MongoDB's YouTube or MongoDB's LinkedIn, keep an eye out for future events. But for now, from myself and Mizanur, thank you so much for joining. It's been a pleasure to have you, Mizanur, and I hope to get you back again for some other exciting examples in the future. Take care, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.